It's your Queen Bee Heidi B here at Heidi's house. Welcome to our second episode. And today's featured guest is Jackman Jones. He's straight from Toronto, Canada, joining us in a moment. And he is a multi-genre house DJ. He's been DJing for about 14 years and been a music producer for about 6 years. He has been collaborated with several house music artists like Ed Ramsey, Vanessa Jackson, Dan Leno, Rebecca Scales, and Heidi B, and many, many more. He's also been signed to several labels like More Than House, Thursday Track, Midnight Riot, Soul and Pepper, and High Vibe label. I'm very happy and grateful to have him part of our team. But hey, let's continue and hear more from the man himself about his house story. So let's go. So here he is. Jackman Jones, straight from Toronto, Canada. Welcome to Heidi's house.
Thank you for having me in Heidi's house.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually taking a break today from music and DJ and all that stuff. So, last year it was like 7 days a week, but now this year, take usually a couple of days just to stay away from everything and get right back into it later. So,
That's actually good. And you know what is funny actually? I was having the same thought today. I was saying that this day when we are interviewing this, it's Sunday, and it will
yeah.
be, you know, aired later, but it's Sunday, and I was just saying to myself that I think I need to take a little bit more time for myself on Sunday. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, the music industry is like 24/7.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, our lives are not, right? So between work and and downtime and all that and music, you have to try and find a way to balance it. Last year, like I said, there was no balance for me whatsoever. It was just music, 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 music. Until I got so worn out from it, up until like late last year, I said, I think it's time I step back just a little bit and take a little more time for myself. So that's kind of what I'm doing now in 2024. And of course, if you know from 2023, I released so much music, and
Yeah.
that was just way too much. I'm not saying it was a good thing or a bad thing. It's just maybe it's just time for me to step back and smell the roses a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And anybody who knows this artist here knows that he is working so much and has released
Hmm.
amazing things and it's mind-blowing if you think about how much releases you have put out and they are all top notch, so you work hard and
Yes.
we will come back to that, a little bit later now, but I want to start with our first interview question. So,
Hmm.
for those people who are maybe new to Jackman Jones, so tell us about a little bit about who is Jackman Jones.
Okay, so I started DJing when I was 38 years old. I'm going to be turning 53 in 2 months. So a lot of people I know have started when they're in their teens or in their 20s. I would think I was one of the few people that started late in life. And I started as an open format DJ, and I did that for 9 years. I gained a lot of experience, but also a lot of headaches doing it too.
Mhm.
Anybody I've told stories about that whole 9 years. I mean, I don't really want to get into it, otherwise, be here talking about it for 2 hours, which we don't have 2 hours. But I decided to make, I was known as Mr. T Dot. And the reason I came up with that name was because my closest friends call me T Dot, and I like MISTA, and then the T separate, and then dot separate. And it did give me some notoriety, but it didn't get me where I wanted to go. So in
Oh,
2018, I was at a store in a mall and I saw Jack Jones. Hit me like that, Jackman
all right.
Jones. So, and I had people tell me I should change the name, but it had to kind of come organically, if you know what I mean. It had just had to
Yeah,
hit
yeah.
me. and it did. And some people at first, the first 3 months, people were like, "Why'd you change the name?" I says, "Well, I'm trying to transition to something else, which was house music. Even though
Mhm.
I was still kind of playing it, I was still known as an
Yeah.
open format DJ. It wasn't until 2020 that I decided, after a really bad New Year's Eve gig, by the way, which I almost quit the business, I
Oh,
decided to do house. That's a whole nother story altogether.
all
Um,
right.
but in
For
2020, I
another
decided,
episode then.
yes. The thing was is that I had a crossroads where, should I continue or should I had these two songs I had done the year before, and I
Yeah.
finished them, and I said, if I get them released, then I'll continue on. Thank goodness they got signed and released, and that started the whole journey in 2020 for me. So I'm very grateful. We're going on 4 years now, and
Mhm.
I will not stop until I feel like stopping. I've
Yeah.
had people tell me, "Oh no, it's not a viable career choice." Like, listen, I'm doing this because I want to do it, and it's been a hell of a ride, and the ride continues on. And I always say the music doesn't stop, and neither do I. So, the decision to keep going was a great decision. And by the way, this started as a New Year's resolution for me, the only one I've ever kept in my life, by the way.
Ah,
So,
okay. Well,
so
that was a solid one.
yeah. So what Jackman Jones is all about is about bringing good music to the people, especially in a day and age where, I'm sorry to say, there's not a whole lot of it right now.
Mhm.
But that's just my personal opinion. But I come from the Generation X, the old school, and that's how I was raised, and that's kind of what I'm bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I mean, hey, I'm not an old school that I don't know how to use a cell phone or technology or anything like that. But it's just when it comes to music, I'm really old school with that. So that's what
Yeah.
Jackman Jones is all about.
It's a great, great, great name, I have to say. And I think you truly did the right decision of changing it, and it really vibes with the whole
Yes.
house thing, the Jack itself.
Yeah.
Itself, and it's really catchy, people remember it, and you have done enormously well, I have to say. And
Thanks.
again, I'm proud to have you also part of my team, and in High Vibe label, and
Yes.
I'm
Thank you.
grateful of our collaborations. The
Yes.
quality of your remixes that you have done for me are like exquisite.
Thanks.
All right, but then let's head into our next question. So, do you still remember what originally got you to house music? You are old schooler like I am, so.
The first song I heard in house was "Girl I House You" by Jungle Brothers. That was the first one.
Oh, my one of my favorites.
That was the first one, and I'll be honest. In my teens, I listened to it a little bit, but I was
Mhm.
more of a hip hop house.
All
Uh,
right.
I had to deal with the '80s pop and all the stuff, which I still listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
I really didn't start getting into it until I was actually DJing, to be honest.
Hmm.
I know, sorry, no. 2005 is when I sort of got back into it, when I heard Lola's Theme by Shapeshifters. That's when I was
Okay.
watching, when I was watching a channel called BPM TV, which is no longer in Canada right now. And I
Mhm.
saw the video and I saw the song, and I said to my girlfriend at the time, okay, now I got to get back into this. I went and bought, I think it was a maxi single at the time that I
All
bought,
right.
and I think I even bought the album and all this stuff. And I started listening to it more and more and more and more into the electronic music thing. Still being a hip hop and house head, but I carried that on with me. And then when I became a DJ, I also started playing that too. But
Mhm.
and I had several radio shows where I was playing the popular stuff and then the underground stuff at the same time.
Okay.
So, like I said, it was there, but like I said, at the time I was open format DJ, and I didn't really hit the nail in the head till 2020.
All right.
So that was the first one, and that was the first song I ever heard in terms of house was "Girl House
Okay.
You."
And that's a classic one, and I have to
Yeah.
say it has that connection to hip hop flavor as well, so
Yes.
it kind of
Yes.
makes sense that that's
Yeah.
something like close to you, and touches you.
Mhm.
And I have to say the Shapeshifters Lola's theme, I mean, it was a smash hit all
Yes, it
over.
was. It was.
Amazing one.
Yeah, it was. And the thing is, I still play it in certain places, and people go nuts over it. You
Yeah,
know,
it's timeless
so
piece.
it's a, yeah, it's a very catchy, timeless song. So And the lyrics kind of it's about somebody finding themselves in a way, right? Especially
True.
this day and age where people are questioning who they are and whatever. People should listen to that song because it's about
Yeah,
finding yourself without people
absolutely.
questioning you, type deal.
Absolutely. All right, let's head to our next question. This is also very interesting. You kind of gave a little hints already there in your story so far, but what would you say? What are the artists that have inspired you the most? And it can be in any genre, but for you, who are those artists that have been inspiring you the most when it comes to music?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Prince, because he was so multi-talented. Even though he's a perfectionist, but this guy could do just about anything in terms of not just music but dance too. He could dance too, because I was also in the dance scene before I became a DJ.
Yeah.
Prince is one. Um, Stevie Wonder is another one.
Oh my God.
For a guy who was blind and was able to, from the '60s all the way up to the '80s and '90s, even up to today, the guy's friggin' genius. Um, and also in terms of house, there's been so many, but I'll name a few. Dirty Secrets is one. Dirty Secrets. When I first heard, what's the song again? Make It Better. That was the first one. That's on Phoenix Music, which is Andy Reid, who's also located here in Toronto. That was a song that really inspired me to want to get into that, get back into producing, get into producing and everything. Um, a lot of the garage artists that have been around. So I've been listening to the garage sound since 2018. One of the guys that I got really friendly with was DJ Trade over in the UK, and I actually
Mhm.
have a couple of songs on his label Trademark Tracks Music. That's what
Yeah,
it's called.
yeah,
And a lot of the garage artists did some really really good stuff from Pogo House and from
yeah.
Bob's Your Uncle, all the great labels there and whatever. I'm glad Tracksource, by the way, came up with a garage page because it was
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's massive in UK, and I also
yes,
absolutely love garage. I have been listening. I think it's since when it came first out. So for
yeah,
for for decades. But you know, sometimes those pages appear a little bit with the delay, but we are happy that it's there. Um, I have to say, my number one artist also is Prince. So how about that?
yeah.
He is my number one. I have to say. There are a few
And
also, but amazing.
and the thing about Prince is he never did the same thing. It was always
Yeah,
something different. And
yeah,
he was one of the first guys to combine different genres into one unique sound. And if you
yes,
listen to every single song, there's always something different about it. And
yes.
that's what inspired me about him. Yeah.
And I think that's something that when it inspires you, I feel the same. I feel this that you do that kind of, that you take a little bit influence here, a little bit influence there, that you don't put so
Yes.
much boundaries to your creation, and that what
Hmm.
makes it beautiful. I like to think the
Yeah.
same when I make my music, that if the song is good and if it has some potential and it inspires me, I'm gonna work with it, and I'm gonna add something, maybe something like unorthodox thing, but
Yeah.
still, this is what I have noticed in your music.
Yeah. I don't mind sticking to, like, if I'm doing a garage track, I don't mind sticking to the guidelines, but I'm going to put a little something that will sort of shock everybody. Be like, oh,
Hmm.
I didn't know you added that in there. I added a little something this, a little something that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you kind of have to keep, you know, uh, figuring out stuff when you're making a
Yeah.
track, or if you're building a house. It's always a figuring out process. My dad's motto was measure 10 times and cut once. So
Okay.
that's kind of where I do what I do with my music.
Yeah. Nice
And I
approach.
think everyone should be doing the exact same thing too, because you don't want to put out something that you're not satisfied with. Maybe everyone thinks it's hot, but you may not be satisfied with it, right?
That's the thing. You have to have that kind of how do you say? You need to be. I don't know if I pronounce this right, meticulous. But you
Yes,
have,
exactly. Meticulous. Yeah.
yeah, you have to be like that, I think,
Yeah.
because once the track is out, you can't go back anymore, so
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
always like
Exactly.
presentation of you. So you have to
Yeah.
have that artistic integrity in that sense and being
Yes.
it. So I
Yeah.
agree with that. All right. Now I'm gonna continue to our next question. And this was the pre-task that I gave you. You had to name
Mhm.
3 of your favorite house music tracks, all-time favorite house music track. Is it possible to name
Okay.
3 of them? I don't know.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. It really isn't three, but I will. The first one, of course, I told you was "Girl I House You" by Jungle Brothers. The second one, which just celebrated 25 years, is 1999 by Cassius. I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
that one.
I
Yeah.
remember.
That's the song that I have played many times, and people go nuts over it. Even the long 9 minute version, because there's a 3 minute radio version, there's a 9 minute version, and I'll
Yeah.
play the 9 minute version by the way because I like the extended mixes, and people go
Mhm.
nuts over it. The other one, of course, would be Shapeshifters' Lotus theme. But I will add another one, which is, and this is one that people also go nuts over, but we don't really mention, and that's Soul Searcher, Can't Get Enough.
Ah,
Yes,
beautiful track. Beautiful
yes.
track.
Actually, I will mention one more, even though it's even though
Yeah,
it's supposed to
yeah.
be uh, Toka's Miracle by Fragma, but the 2008 version, the Impeto remix. That's another one.
Mhm. All right,
Yeah.
I have to check
Not
that one out to be
Yeah,
sure
not
of
the
it.
original. Yeah, not the original one. I'm talking about the one they did in 2008, which sounded more progressive than anything else.
Okay, I have to check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this. And for people who are, not aware of these tracks, but are house heads, there were some amazing suggestions. So go and check them out
Mhm.
and grab your legal copy, of course, and
Yes,
play them
absolutely.
out. So then we are gonna go to a next question. You told a little bit about your career, but now let's talk about the highlights of your career so far. Can you name some of the highlights of your career as an artist and music producer and DJ?
Well, the first one comes to mind is working with Cole Lawton out of Newcastle in England. I've I'm still part of the Deep Fix family. I just haven't done stuff with him yet because he's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. We eventually will get back together and do some stuff. That was a guy that I've been following since I think it was 2019, and I've
All
been
right.
sharing a lot of his stuff. And now a lot of people in Canada know who he is because I've been sharing a lot of his stuff on Facebook. Absolutely amazing, amazing producer and amazing DJ, and his music is on par. He's signed to just about any label you can think of. So Cole Lawton was working with him was the highlight. I did two collaborations with him that did very well, and I also released a few tracks on that label as well. So that's one. The second one was cracking the top 10 on track sources. I think it's the Garage in 2021, and yeah, I worked with two. Well, he goes by either Swanky or Two Sleep. He's an Italian that lives in Colombia, and
All right.
he's been releasing a lot of garage and soulful house tracks. Great guy, a bit of a perfectionist, but working with him is always a blast. So I'm hoping to do some stuff with him in the future again. But our collabs have done very well, so working with him has been great, and we had our first top 10 in the garage section as well.
Yeah, amazing.
I think the biggest one that I've had so far was the Live Your Life remix, the Leroy remix, which not only went almost top 10, and went highest was number 11 on the Soul House chart and Track Source, but I finally cracked the top 100 Track Source chart itself. That one
Wow.
and the singles chart, and then I was top 20 on Weekend Weapons at that time. I was number 2 on the Soulful Essentials, top
Yeah.
20 on the hype chart, and then I found out recently it was the best of December and best of January.
All
So
right.
so that song really sort of cracked. No, I had some goals in mind, and the one thing was to crack the top 100, and I finally did it. So that was a big highlight for me, and that happened um, before Christmas actually. So like a lot before the best of them, whatever. But all that stuff happened before Christmas, so that was a great year to end 2023 for me.
Yeah.
And by the way, I am working on a track with Leroy right now, and we're gonna hopefully get Ed Ramsey to sing on that. And by the way, big up to Ed Ramsey for the lyrics and everything like that. Just a great
Yeah.
job.
Big up to him.
Uh, I've done two collaborations with this guy, and his voice and his lyrics are amazing. So for all you
Amazing.
producers out there, do not sleep on this guy. He is an amazing, amazing artist and a really good guy to boot. I hope to one day in the next year go to Baltimore and meet him. I'm hoping to
Yeah.
meet him. Hoping to
And
meet
and,
him.
and, and please everybody check those tracks that Jackman Jones was mentioning about. Check them
Yes,
out. And I'm happy to share also that Ed Ramsey is gonna be one of my guests here at the Heidi's House
yes,
podcast. So yeah,
yes,
stay tuned, people. And shout out to Ed Ramsey from my behalf as well. So looking forward to have him here as well.
yes.
Uh, then let's change to another question that I kind of told you in advance about.
Mhm.
What do you think? What is your personal contribution to the house music community?
Well, since I think 2018, I had been sharing a lot of content from Europe and from the US in terms of house music, whether it was soulful, whether it was deep, whether it was jacking, garage, and I added this 3 years ago, new disco. And an interesting story about that was um, my partner and I, Melanie Sutherland, big shout out to her. We sometimes do a place called Free Play,
Okay.
and it's a retro arcade, but we sometimes play mostly old school, put a little house into it, and
Okay.
we want to do a theme based on the movie Saturday Night Fever. So we did
Ah,
like an all disco new disco night, right, with
wow.
some remix and stuff like that, and that's what got me into new disco. So I was sharing that as well. But since 2018, I've been sharing a lot of content because I want people in Toronto to realize that there's more to the Kerry Chandlers of the world or the Roger Sanchez's of the world or any other major artists that a lot of people support in the house music scene in Toronto. So I wanted to introduce them. A lot of people didn't know who my partner Peter Mack was until I started putting stuff on Facebook. And Peter Mack and I, we started a little thing called Barking Bad Events, and we're starting to do some things here in 2024. And his music's been blowing up for the last
Yeah,
2 years now, and he's been doing very well. So that's what the contribution I've been doing. I was like, I just don't want to be successful. I want everybody else to be successful because it's not just one pie we got. There's many different pies now. There's different avenues you can go.
that's
So
the thing.
we can always share that success, share that wealth, and just come together. It's not about egos. It's not about who made the most money. It's not about who has the most tracks or anything like that. It's about us coming together and bringing good house music to people because right now that is so needed with what's going on
Yeah,
in the world today. So
absolutely.
that's sort of been my contribution is sharing that music on my Facebook. I
Mhm.
don't know how to share on Instagram. If I get a chance to do it, I'll do it on Instagram too. But
All right.
sharing all that music uh, on Facebook, and the artists appreciate it too, which is great. The artists appreciate it. Thank you for sharing. This is no problem because people need to
Yeah.
hear this. People need to understand this. It isn't about Taylor Swift. It isn't about Justin Bieber. It ain't about that. It's about all
Yeah.
this, right? There's
Yes.
other things you can listen to, right? The
Yes. And
music
there's a room
industry is
for
so
all of
vast.
us.
Yeah, the music industry is so vast right now that you don't
Mhm.
have to listen to the major artists. Other artists you can listen to. So that's my contribution as well.
It's a beautiful contribution, and I have to say, now I'm gonna say thank you to you face to face about the support that you have been giving to me. I mean, uh, he is not only saying this. I have experienced it many times. Jackman Jones posting and promoting my things. Like I'm like, oh, nice, nice surprise. That always touches my heart. And you truly have that kind of generous and supportive attitude and approach. Also, same thing, you've been making amazing remixes on my label and always being like, very supportive to all the team members at the High Vibe, and it has been my pleasure to collaborate with you, and of course looking forward to collaborate more. But it's absolutely,
Yes.
I agree with what you were sharing there, and I see that that's what you're doing. And I have to get Peter Mack sometimes to this podcast as
Yes,
well.
please do. Great guy, just great guy, very passionate. Um, you know, and it's funny because he's from Toronto, but he was living abroad. He was living in South America, and then he was in Europe for a little bit, and he came back to
Ah,
Toronto last July, actually.
all right.
And he had approached me and said, "Hey, I'm going to start this Spark and Mad thing here in Toronto. You want to join me?" I said, "Absolutely," because I had the option. I had the I'd been doing some of my own events, but I think him partnering up with him has been an experience because he has experience too. So we're doing some great things in 2024, and we're hoping to bring something different to the table, and people will enjoy. So, and we're also collaborating with other guys as well too. We're sort of trying to create this community of people where it's like we're not going to limit ourselves to having this person or that person. We're going to bring everybody on board and see what happens.
Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna ask you two more things.
Mhm.
Uh, since you were already sharing a little bit about your current projects, but share a little bit more. What's next for Jackman Jones? Uh,
Okay, so right now I'm in the middle of three collaborations right now. Of course, one of them I already told you with Leroy from France. The other two I ain't going to mention, but they're good ones. I am working on two tracks of my own right now, and I'm also working with Angie Burstow, Angie B, who's in Italy, but she's based she's from the UK but based in Italy, and
Yeah.
we're sort of doing some of our own work on the side as well. And we've done two collaborations, and we're going to be doing more. So we're going to. It's sort of a partnership I have with her, and she's a wonderful person. I hope to meet her one day. And I've been approached by a few others to do collaboration. I said, yeah, but listen, let me get rid of some of these, and we'll get to whatever. So I'm always open to collaborations, remixes, and all that. The thing
Yeah.
for me, like I said, is I'm not doing as much as I used to. I'm sort of taking my time and stepping back and just letting the process happen. Because one of the other things that I want to do this year is DJ a lot more live. Not just do mixes, but also do more live DJing as well, because I didn't get to do a lot of that in 2023. It was more
All
about
right.
making music and some other stuff as well. But right now, that's with Barking Mad and with other gigs I might get here and there. I want to start doing more of that. So, but the music thing continues. It's like I said, I'm just sort of stepping back a little bit and not trying to overwhelm myself with it, um, like I did last year because it almost killed me. So, but yeah,
Well,
that's basically
we
what's going
need
on
you
right now.
here. We need you here
Exactly. Yes.
making good music and DJing. I look forward also to meet you in person sometime somewhere in the
Yes.
world, you know.
Yes.
And
Absolutely. Yeah.
if you are ever going to come to Northern Europe or doing gigs, DJing or something like this, just let me know. I'll be
Yes.
there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and also I want to say shout out to Angie B. She's been always very supportive as well to me, and
Yes.
after this interview, this podcast is gonna have a Heidi B's mini mix, and I'm gonna play some of those tracks, including one of yours that you did with her. So,
Yes.
last but not least, uh, where can people find you if they became more interested in your music? Where can they find you in social media, for instance?
Okay. Social media. I have my Facebook, Jackman Jones 2018. Instagram, Jackman Jones 2018. I'm on SoundCloud, Jackman Jones 2018. I sort of not on Mixcloud anymore just because I'm getting more traction on SoundCloud than I'm on Mixcloud, and Mixcloud is becoming really restrictive now. In fact, I'm even thinking of taking all my mixes down from there, like reactivating it, taking my mixes down and putting everything on SoundCloud now because I find it's a much better platform.
Right.
Um, and also, I'm on Track Sources. Look up Jackman Jones. I'm on Beatport. I'm on Deezer. I'm on Juno Download. I'm on Apple Music. I'm on Spotify. I'm even on Tidal. I didn't even know this. I'm on Tidal.
All right.
Yes, I'm on Tidal. But you can pretty much Google me, Jackman Jones, and you'll find I'm just about everywhere. I sort of focus more on Track Source than anything else. Spotify, not so much because Spotify is a bit of a. I have my views on that and whatever, just the way things are done on with Spotify. But Track Source, I think, is where a lot of people still go to buy music. I wish people would buy more music instead of streaming it. But Track Source and Beatport is sort of where I focus more on and what have you. Not so much the other ones, but I'm pretty much everywhere. So I used to have a website, but I feel that the website kind of didn't really do much for me. And I'm more proactive with the social media than anything else, social media aspect than anything else. I may end up getting another website. I'm not sure yet, but for now, the social media seems to work for me. So.
I have to say that I was running the website as well for the label, and then having my own social media for my brand and for my
Mm,
label, and it was a lot of work, a lot of
yeah,
updating. So I'm nowadays kind of like trying to put everything as compact as possible, because really time is so precious,
yeah,
and that's the thing, you never want to waste the time, so to say. So
yeah.
again, I now want to wish you the best of success for the year 2024. I hope to hear a lot of beautiful new collaborations, those ones also that you didn't mention about it, but we'll stay tuned for those. And I just want to thank you for being part of this podcast. And it was a really pleasure to finally get to talk to you almost in person, face to face at least.
Mhm.
And you know, just you have been great member of the High Vibe label team as well. And on my behalf and on behalf of Heidi's House podcast, I say thank you. And I say big shout out to Jackman Jones.
Well, thank you
And
for having me here, and thank you for having me on the label. It's been a pleasure, and we will do more stuff in the future. I do want to say big shout out to everybody who supported me for the last 4 years and continue to do so. And there's more to come. I mean, I'm not stopping yet. I haven't I'm not at a stage where I'm going to stop yet. I may not be getting younger, but it's the music don't stop, and neither does Jackman Jones. So you see me for quite some time. I can tell you that much.
yes, we will. So thank you again for this interview. And now we are going to continue to mini mix, where you are going to hear some of Jackman Jones's amazing tracks.